This is my wife Sam, and recently she went back with the kids to the UK to visit family. What are her impressions of going back to the UK after living in Australia for the last 3 years? Will she want to stay in Australia or move back to the UK? I guess we'll find out. What was the reason why you went back to the UK in the first place?
There was many reasons. I thought, before Aurora starts school, while Sierra was still an infant, at the infant price, while I had a flexible job and I could take time off whenever I wanted, even though I didn't get paid. And I had some money left over from when I was on maternity, so I thought...
But why did you want to go back to the UK? After 3 years of being here, why did you want to go back? Because I didn't really want to go back. Not yet, anyway.
I just wanted to show off the girls, really, and then allow them to spend time with their family, their grandparents, for them all to meet Sierra, because no one had actually met Sierra except Dad and Karen. So yeah, wanted to show my girls off.
And for anyone thinking about making the move either to Australia or going back to the UK, what preparations did you do? Because you went on your own, didn't you?
I felt like I had to prepare quite a lot because it wasn't just myself, it was both the girls as well. And we had a right issue with passports, didn't we, in the beginning? And oh God, that was a headbanger, that.
So Sierra was born in Australia, which means as we are permanent residents, she's entitled to citizenship. So we applied for her citizenship, we got that. And in the meantime, we were also applying for her UK passport. And essentially we were just waiting for at least one of them to arrive so that she could travel at least. And in the end, the one that arrived first, ironically, was the one that had to travel further from the UK. So being an Australian citizen and being able to prove who she is, it's not really a problem coming into Australia, because at least she can still travel on a passport. But there's just a few more hoops that you have to jump through, isn't it, with immigration?
Yes. There certainly was.
How long did it take you just with that passport issue?
Well, going out, I probably was sitting there 45 minutes. They just didn't understand why me and Aurora had English passports and a visa attached to our passport, and Sierra had her English passport, but she had no visa.
She was born in
because she was an Australian citizen, but they didn't understand why she wasn't travelling on her Australian passport, but that hadn't arrived in time, so she had no choice but to travel on the UK passport. And I explained that, and I was basically telling them what to do. They kept telling me she needs a visa, I said she doesn't need a visa, she was born here, it says on her passport.
What are you going to do, deport
where
her?
She was born. It was such a headache. And then we were late for the plane because I had to drop the pram off at the plane early. So they told me I had to drop it at 8 o'clock at night. We got there at 8:10 because we had to do a toilet stop on the way through because Aurora was going to wet herself.
The joys of travelling with children.
And then we got to the gate, and then I'm stressing because I'm trying to put the stroller into the bag while I'm trying to watch a toddler that's crawling off, while I'm trying to keep an eye on Aurora. And do you know what? The ground crew just stood there and stared at me. And I actually, at one point I'd had enough, and I was like, do you know what? I said, rather than staring at me, could you actually help? Oh yes, of course, madam. What would you like? What would you like us to do? And it was all la-di-da, and it's like, whoa, okay.
Australian helpfulness maybe doesn't apply to people that are at the airport.
But I had the issue the whole way with the passport. So at Dubai, and then in England, and then coming back, I had the same issue again, and I'm repeating myself time and time again.
So lesson learned, make sure you apply for the passport in good time.
Yes.
But we have it now, so it's okay. How was the actual flight bit itself with two girls under 5?
The actual flight, as in the pilot flying the plane, was really good. Like turbulence-wise, all of that, there was no issues. It was really quite a pleasant flight. The only thing I am still gobsmacked about is the airline itself.
Go on.
Because I just had no support whatsoever. We booked it with Qantas.
Yeah.
Qatar. No, Qantas, wasn't it? And then when the flight details came in, they told me I was flying with Emirates. I was like, oh yeah, wow, that's a really good airline. Like, cool. And I tell you what, not one air hostess or ground crew asked me if I was all right. Did I need anything? Could I watch the girls while you go to the toilet? toilet or have something to eat or nothing. I didn't get one on any of the flights. And yeah, that shocked me because...
But they're there for your safety.
Well, not really. Like, honestly, it was appalling. I'd never fly with Emirates again because of that.
Well, unless they're the cheapest when we do go.
I mean, it's different if I've got you with me. But as a single mum on my own with 2 youngsters, like, I think that's appalling. I think that's disgusting. I actually had a few mums and grandmas kind of reach out and say, look, you know, I'll watch the girls, go and get a drink, go and have something to eat, and, you know, but I spend 5 minutes trying to tidy up all the crap on the floor, you know, that they've left. And but overall, I'm really proud of the girls, both the girls, for travelling. They did really, really well. It's not put me off. I'd do it again if I had to. I mean, I wouldn't choose to, but with Sierra at the age she is now and walking, I think it would be a completely different story.
Yeah. Sierra now is the age that Aurora was when we first moved to Australia. And I remember that flight, even with no one on the plane. But she was a nightmare. Just trying. Thank God we were the only people in a whole area to ourselves, because she had the whole run of the plane, the whole run of that area, and she just knackered herself out. It would have been horrendous for you, I think, if you'd have done it yourself and had a. She just wants to get in everything, and it's awesome to watch, but not on a plane. So when you got back to the UK, what were your initial first impressions?
I felt like really quite closed in, like everything was on top of each other, and it made me feel quite small, especially the cars. Oh my God, my dad picked me up. I got into my dad's car and I felt like I was on a Grand Prix track.
What car does he have?
I felt like
for
I was
reference?
in a racing car. Oh, it's just an estate, I don't know what it is, BMW or something estate. But where I'm so used to both of us having higher cars, everyone here has kind of big cars. Honestly, I felt like I was on a Grand Prix track, and even going down the motorway, I'm like, ooh, ooh, and my dad was like, chill, it's all right, and I'm like, yeah, but it felt so weird, really weird.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a big thing. The litter was horrendous. I think I've got so used to it being so clean here.
Yeah.
There was litter everywhere. I was like, whoa. And everything just looked a bit grey and dull. Even though I actually had quite good weather when I was there. We were really lucky with the weather. But it just looked, and even like the trees and stuff, like they just looked...
Well, I suppose you did go back autumn into winter. But that's one of the things that we noticed when we first moved here, isn't it? And even though we were sort of springtime, and even in our winter, we noticed that there just seems to be a different vibrance to the colours here.
Yeah.
With everything that you seem to see, it's like they've got a filter over things, and it's not just, you know, what people see on Instagram or whatever. It genuinely, the colours here seem to be better. And how did that greyness then affect sort of your mood and how you felt about stuff?
Well, it did make me feel a bit down, a bit depressed, a bit, ugh. I was trying to be like, woohoo, I'm back in England, and it was a bit like, oh God, like, why would you want to live here type thing, you know? But I mean, I guess we're spoiled now. We've got it being so used to what it's like here. Yeah, going back home was a bit of a shocker. It was weird for me though. I didn't feel like it was home. Okay. But I also, when I came back here, I also didn't feel like it was home. Do you know what I mean? I don't really know where home is for me at the moment. Like I didn't, you know, I didn't really miss the UK apart from family and friends, but it was a bit, yeah, I don't know. It was
You're
a bit
in this
strange.
weird transient state.
Like I kept saying, oh, I'm looking forward to going home. So I did keep saying that because I was looking forward to seeing you, and you know, the girls see you, because I think Aurora really struggled. She kept missing you, and you know, I just want to see Daddy, and I'm like, yeah, me too. And yeah, but I didn't feel like I was home. But then, like I said, come back, I didn't feel like it was home. I didn't really.
That might be a little bit then. I mean, you always do things later than me, and I don't feel like the UK is home at all anymore. It's just where I grew up, where I used to live. But I felt for a while when we first came here, obviously you're still adapting to that whole idea of what is your new home. And especially when we were living in rentals and before we kind of really got settled in here. Yeah, I think there was a bit of a period where, I mean, I knew pretty much as soon as I moved away from the UK, that isn't home anymore. But it did take a little bit of a while. But I was, you know, not worried, but I often did wonder wonder to myself, like, how long is it going to take for you? I mean, it will always still be slip of the tongue type of thing, but you were still very much saying that the UK, you just talk about it like home.
Yeah.
You'd always use the word home.
Yeah.
And I was always wondering how long it would take you to think, is it really anymore?
But when I was in the UK, I was still referring here to as home.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm calling both home, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
So you said the main driver for going back to the UK was to see friends and family and to show off the girls.
Yep.
What was it like when you were able to see all of the friends and family that we haven't seen since we've been there? How was it showing off the girls?
It was lovely. It was so nice. Just to hear positive comments all the time about, well, one, how brave I was to do the journey by myself. Everyone said, I don't know how you did that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I did it either. But hey ho, I did it. Tick. Can do it again if I need to. But
Took 30 odd years for you to do your first flight on your own?
yes, that was another thing. Like, I hate flying. Like, I literally hate flying. Taking off is the worst for me. I really don't like it. I'm normally like this on Ross.
Well, I'm like this on a beer.
I think I was just grabbing onto Sierra for dear life and not letting it go. Yeah, just doing the flying by myself and not having anyone to follow around the airport. Like, I would just follow you,
Yeah.
or I'd just follow Dad if when I was younger. Do you know what I mean? Like, I always just had someone to follow, and now it was me on my own. And yeah, what was the question?
What was it like seeing everyone?
Yeah, it was so nice. It was nice. And I did feel a bit bad at one point when like I saw your sister. Like, I felt really sad that, you know, you couldn't be there with us, and I think they felt that too.
If you're wondering why I didn't go, I know I didn't explain that at the beginning, and probably I should have.
Yeah, we didn't fall out. We didn't have a breakup, which everyone has asked me. Sam, are you okay? Sam, are you okay? Has anything happened? And I'm like, no.
It just turns out that I'm really tight, and I want to go and see everyone back in the UK. I'm not really fussed about the UK itself, but it's the people. But to fly at Christmas when I am off, because I'm a teacher, that would have been about $12,500, which is too much money for us to kind of splurge willy-nilly. Willy-nilly. For you to travel back on your own with the girls in term time, and obviously I can't go, the difference, it was about $4,500.
Yeah.
That's not even the difference, that's how much it costs. Yeah. So with that much of a disparity, I just couldn't justify, you know, saying, oh, I'm going to do it. We will go eventually, and we will have to pay the $12,500. But right now, especially with Sierra not really being able to remember anything, I just felt like it's not for me.
It was really nice to see everyone. It was a bit surreal, I kind of felt at one point, and if we weren't out doing something, we always had somebody come and visit, so we didn't stop. Like, it was quite full on. I thought I was going over for a break, but no. I actually was looking forward to coming back for a break so I could go, Ross, take the girls. But
I do
yeah,
my bits.
it was really nice for everyone to spend time with the girls, and bless Aurora, she just had no idea who any of these people were, and they were like, hi Aurora, and then she was like, how do you know my name? You know, how do you know me? And I'm like, Aurora, you know all these people, because remember, you were born in England, and you know,
they have met you before.
Yeah,
mate.
they've met you, but they haven't met Sierra, and yeah, it was just really nice. Everyone with Sierra, they kind of said, like, she's such a happy, content little girl, is happy with anyone and whatever she does, and yeah, it was just really nice to, like, I'm proud of the girls and I know how good they are, but obviously any parent says that about their kids, but when other people who I knew from when I was a child, like, and they've seen me grow up, and now that I've got children and they've seen my children, and you know, they're, oh my God, she looks so much like you, oh my God, she's a spitting image of you, and oh my God, she looks like Ross, you know, and it's nice to hear. It makes me feel good.
Okay, so after living in Australia for the last 3 years, were there any like reverse culture shocks going back to the UK? Even though you'd lived there for all of your life, were there any shocks with just how things are done?
As in culture, as in people?
Yeah, just like things that people do.
Well, I couldn't believe how common everybody sounded. Oh my God. Everyone sounded so rough. I mean, Ross's sister and brother, they're from Essex, so they are rough as anyway.
Oh, what are you on about? They're proper
But
cockneys.
even just everybody else who isn't from like London or anything, they all sounded so rough and
You're from
dodgy.
the Royal Berkshire,
I
darling.
am from Berkshire, but nobody sounded quite like that, you know? I was like, oh, God, I don't know.
How does that compare to the Australian accent, though?
I'm not sure. Like a few people said, oh, that's an unusual word, or oh, we don't use that here. You know, if I was referring to things like I might have said, let's go and buy Aurora some gumboots, you know, and they'd be like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, they're wellies. And normally I would call them wellies, but I guess you just pick up on the language here after a while.
Well, you less so than me, but
yeah,
I'm getting there.
Yeah, certain things, I'm saying, and they don't think I sound Australian at home, but they can hear certain words. They definitely can hear it in Aurora. So I thought everyone sounded really rough, and even like in the supermarkets, so they have Aldi and Lidl, and here we have Aldi, but back in England they've got Lidl as well.
Australia would do fantastic with Lidl.
Yeah, the shelves were really quite empty. The shops were really empty. I don't know if that's because of COVID and there's just been...
Hey, COVID was years ago.
I know, but is it like a backlog from it? Like it just, because I had like a list of stuff I wanted to bring back for myself, bring back for you, I would be hunting around trying to find these items. I couldn't find
So
them.
we that was something that we talked about when we first came here, and obviously COVID was the reason. And I think it's got a hell of a lot better. Was it worse or better than here, having empty shelves and stuff?
I think it was worse there.
What about prices of things? How did you find that?
Yeah, I didn't find that cheap. Honestly, like I was so excited about going back Primark and New Look because that was one of my favourite women's fashion shops, and I used to work there. And
that's one of the things that you said. You struggle to find, and I do as well because I've got little T-Rex arms and short legs. But you said you struggle to find kind of the style of clothes and the fit of clothes that you like.
Here, yeah.
I just find Australians to be a lot bigger. You know, that's the difference here.
But here, it's either, you know, they've got loads of like size 6, size 8, and then when it comes to a normal size of, you know, between 10 and a 14, for example, I struggle. And then they've got 16 plus. So I just find it, and I was so excited about going back home and going to Primark and New Look and Dorothy Perkins and River Island and
all the good shops.
Yeah, all them shops, and I was really disappointed. I mean, fashion, I don't care about fashion anymore. Like, I don't follow a trend, I just wear what I want. And over here, you don't get judged for it.
No.
But I feel back home you do. Some people are like, ooh, what are they on your feet? And I had like a pair of Birkenstocks, and they wouldn't wear stuff like that in England.
That's like Australian standard
I know.
footwear, apart from maybe
or your
nothing.
Crocs or something, you know. And in England, people will rip the piss out of you if you wore Birkenstocks or Crocs or whatever. And here, it's like, it's the norm. Everyone wears it, don't they? Yeah, I just found the prices everything's just gone up. And my parents were saying that, like, you know, groceries have gone up as well as clothing and stuff, but wages aren't going up in England. So I was really disappointed. I hardly came back with anything. I think maybe a couple of pair of jeans I came back with, some pyjamas and a new jacket. But I actually went out one day on my own. I had one day to myself. I was out for 6 hours. You know what I'm like?
Yeah, you can't make a decision.
Yeah, I was out for 6 hours. I came back with 0.
What a well-spent day.
Do you know? But obviously I come back with stuff for Sierra and Aurora because I can't help that now. Like when I go shopping, I'm like, come on Sam, let's go shopping for you. Let's do something for you. I can't. I always end up veering towards the kids section, and I love it. I love buying stuff for the girls, and I like buying presents and stuff. But yeah, the prices, it was like kind of like Kmart prices. Yeah. Between Kmart and Target, for example, you know. So yeah, I didn't find it cheap at all.
Same, don't need to go back there at all for clothes anyway.
No, I've just got to still search for a shop here that I'm happy with because I still can't find.
Kmart will do, mate.
Nah. Kmart shrinks, or it goes out of shape, or it's just...
It's only designed to last for a year.
I know.
You're saying Primark's designed to last longer?
Yeah, I've still got some stuff stuff from Primark. I've still got pyjamas that I love that I won't throw away because I like them. I must have had them 7 years.
Oh my God, they got holes in them. They got holes in the arse, probably. So even though you were there just for visiting for a holiday.
Holiday? It wasn't really a holiday.
What was the daily life kind of routine like, and how did that compare to being here? Like, what did you do on the weekends, for example?
So I stayed with my parents. My dad was off the whole time. He's self-employed, so he can pick his own hours, and yeah, there's no way he'd be working if we went back. So he was off the whole time. My stepmom, did manage to get a Monday off. Normally she works a 4-day week and has Tuesdays off, but she managed to get Mondays off as well. So it was quite nice because we had Saturday to Tuesday with all of us. But she would still work, Wednesday to Friday, and they would still have their routine she would have her routine of coming home and cooking and doing the washing and just normal. And I would just do what I do here, so I get up with the girls and I do them breakfast. And I mean, my dad was great at feeding the girls, but I had to prepare everything and I had to make sure it wasn't too hot. He was so worried about them burning their mouth, So it was the normal routine for me, really, with bottles and Sierra sleeping.
And how did that feel? How was it different? Was it the same? Better? Was it worse?
It was harder. Is that what you want to hear? It was harder because I didn't have your help. It did. I know Ross does an awful lot, but it did make me realise how much you help. And when I was there, because I was mum and dad for the whole 6 weeks, Like my stepmom would help as much as she could, but like I said, she was always kind of cooking or cleaning or ironing or whatever. And I was feeding them, bathing them, giving them the bottles, putting them to bed, waking up in the night if I had. Do you know what I mean? So it's just the normal thing that I would do here, bathing both the girls, when you're here, you help and you would take one of the girls and I'd have the other. And it was quite hard work. My stepsister did actually come round quite a bit and help with dinner time and bath time. I think she could kind of see that it was quite stressful for me doing it, on my own. And but yeah, I realised, I was like, oh, I need Ross's help. I can't do this anymore.
So one of the things that people talk about when they're weighing up moving to Australia is obviously the idea that you don't have that family support network that you're very much used to when you're there.
Yeah.
How was it when you went from here, where we have a friend support network, sure we do. We don't have a family support network, which is what a lot of people hang on to. How did it feel then going back to having that? Like, did you feel like you needed it?
I didn't feel like I needed it, but I felt like I always had to ask for help quite a lot. Like I'd say, oh, would you mind doing this, or would you mind doing that? But then I felt bad for asking because I kind of thought, well, would they not say if they wanted to help? Or I don't know, it was a bit of a tricky one because I didn't want to put them out of what they normally do. Do you know what I mean? So I tried to do as much as I could by myself, but I mean, there was one day I'm like, would you mind getting up and seeing to the girls in the morning just so I can have a lie-in? Like I felt really bad asking for it, but I was like, I need this. And they were like, yeah, But I feel like maybe they don't want to, I'm talking about my parents here, like maybe they don't want to impose on my routine. And they said, like, we're sorry that we don't get up in the night, but we're not sure what you want us to do. Do you want us to leave them? Do you want us to help? Do you want us to... So I think they just kind of left me to it. And it's good in one way because sometimes, God bless Dad, he would help it, but actually sometimes it would make it worse. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, no, just don't do it that way. Do it this way. It's much easier. And I felt like I was, and then after a while you get a bit, and you're having a go at each other, and I was getting a bit snappy. And yeah, it's a bit tricky because I was living back with the parents, and it was nice. I had my own room. The girls had their own room, so that was nice, but it's still...
Do you feel then that we've got used to being on our own and having to do things ourselves?
I think so.
That's just something which happens. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy. Raising kids isn't the easiest thing to do. But when people are like, no, I really need that kind of family network, when push comes to shove and you don't have it anymore, like you do
just
find a way.
Yeah, you just get on with it. All I would say is make sure you as a couple are helping each other and supporting each other, and don't just leave it all to one person, because they will burn out. You know, it's really hard. Like sometimes I felt like a single mum with 2 kids, and I'm like, how do people do this?
Yeah.
You know, like I don't physically know like how my dad brought me and my brother up like really early on his own, until we had au pairs come and help, and then he met Karen and she was a great help, and then there was 3 of us, and then I'm like, how the hell did Karen do that with 3 of us? Like, you know, she was working full time, coming home, cooking, cleaning, ironing, I just don't know how people do it. And it makes you realise now as a parent, it's hard work bringing up kids. It's not easy.
So what did you do on the weekends and stuff? How did the leisure time compare? What types of things did you do? Because here, you know, it's different, isn't it?
Well, like I said, we were so lucky with the weather. We kind of made the most of it. You know, like my dad's every day he goes on the computer and he looks at the weather, and he'd tell me what time it's going to start raining and all of this. He's very set in his ways. And
yeah, well, you can't do that with the bomb.
No.
It's never right.
So he would say, right, it's going to rain at 1 o'clock. We're going out this morning. We need to go out for a walk. We're going to go to Dinton, you know, which is a big park where we can take the dog and yeah, go for a nice walk, and obviously stop at the pub or the cafe or whatever. So yeah, and it was mainly a lot of people wanted to see us at the weekends because obviously people work.
Yeah.
So that was quite tricky. I didn't actually get to see everyone that I wanted to see because I couldn't fit everybody in over a weekend. You know, like I had quite a bit of free time in the week, but it was quite hard.
And you even went back for 6 weeks.
Yeah, so it was mainly seeing family and friends really of a weekend, and then during the week, like a Monday, Tuesday when Karen was off, we would go out all together. We went to Legoland one day. I actually got sunburnt on my face, like it was that warm. You know, we went to London and we did all these kind of different things, and then we saw family and friends of a weekend. But yeah.
How many free things were there to do? Because that's something we talk about here, and the fact that there's so much free stuff to do.
Obviously all the parks and stuff are free, and we went to some really nice parks. A few around my area where I grew up, they've all been redone, so that was quite nice to go to them. Apart from that, I don't think anything else was free, really.
Was it expensive to go out?
I don't think so. Like, I think it was reasonable. Like, we went into London, we went on the London Eye, we went to this like Shrek, I don't know what you call it, like a experience thing. Gosh, what else did we do? We went to Legoland, we went to Windsor, and we didn't get to go on an open top bus because the weather wasn't great that day, but I did want to do that.
So what kind of things then did you do for the girls? How was it different for them? How was being in the UK different for them?
I think because we were at my parents' like the whole time, you know, she constantly, Aurora especially, constantly had Nanny and Gan there all the time, you know. After Aurora had like met people, she's like, oh, can I see such and such again? And can I see such again? Which was really nice. I talk about Aurora a lot because she's that bit older. I can kind of communicate with her a bit more than I can with Sierra. But Aurora she liked going out and walking Lexi, our dog, back home, which is really nice. She did try and get friendly with Frank, which is the cat. But yeah, he's got too set in his ways. He doesn't really like children. He's a grumpy old boy now, and he's very one person, and his one person is now Karen, which I found quite hard because he was my cat and he was my boy, you know, and like going back, it took the cat a while to come to terms with, oh, I recognise that person and that voice, and as where Lexi the dog was a bit more she was still excited as she ever was, you know. And so yeah, so Aurora really enjoyed going out and walking the dog, and it's funny because my parents have like a park and a green just literally opposite their house, and every morning Lexi goes out for a walk there and the cats go with them, like they follow them. So the cats go for a walk and they have a poo in the bush, and you know, nice. Lexi does her business, and Aurora quite like that. And I think, yeah, it was nice for Aurora to have had that constant communication with Nanny and Gangan especially. They were there all the time. I think they found it quite hard. They were quite knackered because it is just constant with the girls, you know. But what did you even ask me?
I was asking about like how different is it, Australia and the UK, for the girls, like things that they can do. They've
I didn't really feel it was much different. Obviously I could pop to the shops and just leave the girls with them, which we couldn't do here unless you were here and I popped to the shop. Routine was just still the same. I didn't really break the routine. Aurora loved it because she had her own room. She has her own room here, but you know, like Nanny would put a different bed sheet on every week and it would be like a Barbie because it would be my old bed sheet or Dumbo.
Have they still got that old stuff?
Freaking Noddy.
Noddy.
She had Noddy on at one point. And I'm like, why have you still... When you haven't got any space, yet you've got all these duvet covers from when I was like 4.
Yeah.
You know, and but it was very sweet. She made Aurora's room very pretty with all these like fairy lights and, you know, she loved it. And Sierra was just shoved in a travel cot in the other room.
Poor girl.
Yeah, but...
So it wasn't really different then for them, like things that they could do?
I don't think so, not really. I mean, you know, Aurora might have worn her wellies a bit more, you know, wore her coat a bit more and her hat.
So it was nice to have that difference.
Yeah, I quite liked it. I love the sun and the heat, I do, but if I'm honest, I do get sick of it. Like, sometimes it's just...
The summer can be quite overbearing here.
I don't like summer here, and you know I don't like summer here, and I find it really hard in summer, but just constantly just heat. I actually quite enjoyed going back and it being a bit colder, but it honestly, it wasn't cold. Like, we were so lucky with the weather. I think a week or 2 after we had returned, my parents were like, it's for a reason. Like, I don't know what you've done, but you know, you obviously brought a bit of heat with you and took the heat back with you, and yeah, I barely wore my really big, like, thick coat and hat because it just...
Oh, I guess it wasn't really that time of year, was it? It's not into the winter yet.
Yeah, no. I mean, it was a little bit tricky for me in terms of, like, when I wanted to see friends and stuff, because they wanted to see the girls. They wanted to meet Sierra, they wanted to see Aurora, and obviously me, but so I never really had any time to myself, if you know what I mean. I had one night away with one friend at a spa, that was lovely, and I stayed at another friend's house, but I had the 2 girls with me, so that was tricky. So I didn't really have much time to myself because, as well as seeing me, everyone wanted to see the girls as well, which I get. That's how it is, isn't it? Like,
what impact do you think going back to the UK has had on you and the girls?
it's quite nice that Aurora can now visualize some people. Obviously Nanny Gangan she knows anyway, but like Auntie Salad, for example, you know. So
she calls my sister Sally Salad.
Yeah.
All of the weird names are because those are the names that are stuck when she couldn't pronounce them properly.
Yeah. So Auntie Sally is Auntie Salad to Aurora, and she can now tell me, oh, I like Auntie Salad's house because she's got like 4 stairs, and then you go up another 4 stairs, and then you go up another 4 stairs, and like, you know, it's quite nice that she remembers people, which is not, because I show her photos all the time of people back home and we talk about people back home, but for her to actually see them, you know, is really nice. And for her to see Lexi and Frankie, the cat and dog, she doesn't remember them, you know, from when we were back there. You know, she'll talk about them, and yeah, no, it's nice that she can remember some things now. It does make me laugh though that Aurora thought this was her first flight. She'd never been on a plane before, so she was so excited about going on an aeroplane for the first time.
So you came here on one, mate.
Even though she's been to Scotland, she's been to Morocco, she's flew to Australia, she doesn't remember any of that. She now remembers her flight back to England, and she knows that she has to go on 2 planes if she wants to go back and see Nanny Gangan, and that it's a long way.
What about for you? What's been the impact on you?
I actually just feel quite proud of myself. I know I'm 35 years old, but doing the travelling on my own is a big thing. Like I've never done that before. I've never flown. I've never flown alone. I've never been in an airport by myself, and just like, as well as me, like, being in charge of 2 kids, like, who are relying on me the whole time, you know? So I was really proud of myself. I don't sleep on planes anyway, and if I was to, I'd have to take a sleeping pill to knock me out. Obviously, I couldn't do that with the girls because I had to be alert and awake all the time. So I basically went, you know, 24 hours with no sleep, and it was just constant. But I just kept telling myself, you know, it was an hour less, it was half an hour less, you know, this is going to end, it's going to be fine. I just hoped and prayed that there was nothing bad going out, because I know I've got to do the return journey back.
At least if you know it's going to be okay one way.
And my dad was so eager to get Sierra to walk, because he taught Aurora to walk.
Yeah.
And he was like, she's going to be walking by the time you go back on that flight. She's going to be up and down them aisles. And I'm like, Dad, come on, like, stop being selfish. Like, please, I don't want her to walk. Like, it's hard enough for me as it is. And luckily she didn't. She didn't walk till we got back, and you got to see it, which was really lovely. But yeah, just, I tell people, like, I had so much luggage. Like, literally, I had 2 backpacks for the plane, as well as Sierra strapped to me, as well as a wheelie bag, as well as Aurora. Like, I was sweating. It's like I'd been in a shower by the time I got on the plane. I was so hot. I mean, I am a bit over the top. I do overpack. I do worry and panic, and I think, what if? You know, what if there was a delay?
Did anything happen?
What if there wasn't enough food for Aurora because she's such a tricky eater? You know, what if Sierra had a dodgy stomach and she went through like 7 nappies on one plane? Like,
And did it happen? Did any of it happen?
No delays, but I was getting a bit low on nappies at one point, and I didn't need half the kind of toys and stuff that I put in. I did buy lots of little bits for Aurora, and I wrapped them all up, and because I joined a group on Facebook about travelling with children, and, you know, give some ideas.
Did it work?
Yeah, it did. It did work. It was really good. But there was a lot of stuff in there I didn't need, but I just worried, and I was like, what if? So yeah, so on the way back it was quite good, because I still had the stuff still, you know, wrapped, because I only let her open, you know, a few of them. I didn't like let her open everything. But to be fair, because the first flight was overnight, I tried to get her to sleep. She struggled, bless her, because I booked the bulkhead seats because I wanted the bassinet for Sierra, but because we were on a side, I didn't realise at the time, but the armrests don't come down of a side.
Yeah, she'll be able to lay down probably, haven't she?
So only the armrests come down in the middle, which is where you got your 4. So we were on the side where you've got 3. So the poor girl had to, like, sleep, you know, in like fetal position, you know. And she said, Mummy, I can't sleep. And at one point I was like, Aurora, I'm going to put you on the floor. Okay, and I put the blanket down and a pillow, and she literally fell asleep within seconds. And then I had this right moody old cow of an air hostess. Like, most of them walked past and just, like, ignored it. And there was this one who she really, I don't know, she must have hated me. And she was like, she can't do that. She needs to get up. I'm like, seriously, love? Like, I'm a single mum on my own. She's shattered. Just let her sleep.
Told you they're here for the safety.
And she's like, no, you need to wake her up and put her back in her seat. Like, oh, sorry.
You do it.
It was awful. And like,
you wake her up. That's what I'd have said.
And even like when Sierra was crawling around at one point, like she wanted to go. She liked the lights that went up to first class that were on
she's
stairs,
got good taste.
and she was playing with the lights, and she was crawling around, and this bat of a woman comes around, and she was like, oh, she can't do that. She needs to sit back in her seat. I'm like, seriously, love? Like, I'm here watching her constantly. I didn't like her. Me and her were not friends.
Yeah. It's like that police officer when we first landed, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And we were a biohazard in Brisbane Airport, telling me off because our 16-month-old daughter's off touching this, that and the other, and I've just been on a plane with her for 24 hours. Oh, she can't do that. And I literally looked at her and went, were you going to do, arrest her? You don't want to touch her. You think she's got COVID.
But I have to say, the whole bassinet thing cracked me up. So the bassinet on Emirates goes up to a 2-year-old, apparently, right? And it has a weight limit of 10 kilos. Now, I weighed Sierra before we left. She was 11.3.
Yeah.
So I was like, she's too big, you know. And so when we got on the plane, they didn't bring you the bassinet. You had to actually ask.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, could I have the bassinet, please? And they kind of looked at me and they looked at her and they were like, how old is she? I said, she's just turned 1. Like, Sierra's quite big for her age. And they were like, how much does she weigh? I'm like, about 9.8. And I knew she was like 11.3 or 11.2 or whatever. And they were like, I don't think she's gonna fit. I said, she will.
I'll make her
She
fit.
will fit. And they said, yeah, but you know, if her legs aren't straight and she's like laying like a frog, you know, it's actually health and safety, you know, regulations. She can't be in it, like it's dangerous. And I'm like, it's fine, she'll fit. And on the way out, they let me put her in it, but her legs were like hanging out the end. And her head was literally touching. She hated it. She absolutely hated it because Sierra's quite a turner in her sleep. She moves quite a lot and she likes to sleep on her front. So she couldn't turn over. She was stuck like she was in a straitjacket, like in a coffin. Like she really didn't like it. And then on the next flight, they were like, I don't think it's going to work. But the air hostess said, just put a blanket over her. No one will see that she's got frog legs. So I did.
She's a better air hostess.
But yeah, Sierra didn't fit. There's no way it would go for a 2-year-old. Not a chance. I tried to get her to sleep on me in the carrier, and then I would try and transfer her, but she doesn't transfer well, does she?
No.
Into the thing, and so I got no sleep. But I felt like I couldn't really drink either. Like I'd have 1 or 2, and then I'm like, no, I need
Well, you
to
can't
stop.
get drunk on a
That's what I
plane because
mean.
you've got to look after the
I know,
kids.
but that was my time to try, and I even tried to watch a series or something, and I think I got 15 minutes. That was it, you know, because
No joy
one
on
was
your
asleep, the other was awake. The other was asleep, the other was awake, you know. But anyway, I did it. I did it for my parents and the family and for them all to spend time with the girls, and
They can come here and spend time with them.
I know, but fair, you know. My parents came out for the birth of Sierra, didn't they? So just wanted to return it, be like, here you go, we're back.
While you were there, did you notice any changes in the girls, in you?
I don't think so, not really. Just that I am a mum and things are different now, and it's not about me, and you know, it's about the girls, and the girls got so many presents and I got nothing. Like, I am still a kid when it comes to birthdays and Christmas.
Yeah.
And I still have a stocking at Christmas. You know, I'm 35, but so I didn't really, the girls got lots and lots, to the point where I had to buy another suitcase because I couldn't bring everything back, and then I had to actually send...
We used to send my bag, didn't we?
Yeah, send my bag to send another suitcase across because I just couldn't fit all the gifts in there. I tried to fit in as much as I could. There's still quite a few things at my parents' house. So so when we next go, there'll be still stuff there for... But I did have to try and sort through quite a few things of yours and mine because we left so quickly when we did leave. Because we kept getting bumped off, we were like, we felt like it was never going to happen, do you know what I mean? And then this one time, I knew we were going, I just had this feeling, and it was so hard. We just left our whole house, basically, didn't we?
No, not the whole house.
No,
we sold most of it, but
we did.
There was still a few bits left that we'd never sorted out.
No, and it was just a case of just shove it all in a drawer, you know? So I actually sieved through quite a few things, gave quite a bit to charity, and I was forever sending you messages, wasn't I? Do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want this? Do you want that? And he was like, nah, chuck it, chuck it, chuck it.
It's been 3 years, I've not used it.
Yeah.
If our story has inspired you to move to Australia, or you're in the early stages of moving over and you don't know where to start, then you'll need to find out if you even qualify for a visa. Australia is one of those pesky countries that doesn't just let anyone in, and realistically, the whole moving process was probably one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my life. To help you out and plan what you need to do next, speak to our friends True Blue Migration Services, and when you mention us, let them do the the hard work of navigating the ever-changing Australian visa system and use their free visa assessment service so they can tell you exactly what you need to do to realise your dreams down under. As the only MARA registered visa company we trust, and we're not the only ones as they have hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. You can even check them out if you need help falling asleep. In fact, they're so slick that if you decide to use them, they'll pretty much do all of the hard work for you in securing your visa for you and your family to live their best life. So what are you waiting for?
So based on your whole experience of going back to the UK, what advice would you have for people wanting to make the move here, wanting to even take a trip back?
I would say just go with your gut instinct, go with your heart. If you feel you want to go home, back to England, do it. I don't regret it at all, but I do realise that I'm quite lucky to have you, and the help and support I get from you. Going back home without you was hard on me. If you come out here, like I said before, just make sure that you and your partner are okay and you're happy with each other, you support one another. You know, it's not just I work and you do everything else. You're a team, you have to be working together. We've got so used to not relying on our family now, have we? Because we literally don't have anybody here. So it is just tag between you and me, and sometimes it can be hard. Yes, it can be hard. I'm not saying it's not hard. It is, but it does get easier, doesn't it? But, you know, with Aurora now at the age she's 4, she's she'll be 5 in April. Like, she's so self-sufficient, isn't she now? Like, and she's so good with Sierra. She's brilliant with looking after her little sister. Yeah, I make sure that, you know, we speak to my parents every week. You speak to your parents every week. You know, we keep that consistency going. You know, every time Aurora sees a plane in the sky, she's like, "That's Nanny and Gangan's aeroplane," you know, and it's really quite sweet, you know. And but now she kind of understands a little bit more. Oh, you know, it's a long way, and I actually show her on a globe. She has one at her school, and we look for Australia and we look for the UK, and I'm like, this is how far it is. It's like a really long way, but yeah, no, just do it. Like, if your gut's telling you, if your heart's telling you, yeah, just go for it. What's there to lose? If you've got the money, if you can go. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Like, honestly, it's just, yeah, I still don't know how I did it.
I'm surprised you came back.
Yeah, well, I had no choice. I had to come back. I had a return ticket. It wasn't just one way, was it? I had to return to you, I guess.
So this is the big question. After going back to the UK for 6 weeks, spending time with friends and family, do you want to go back? Or I'll rephrase it. Do you want to move back to the UK? Have you got the itch?
No, I don't. Which I know you want to hear, and you're really excited.
Well, it helps because, you know, moving to Australia in the first place was like the hardest bloody thing ever.
Yeah.
To know that I don't have to worry in the near future about having to sell everything up again. Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's just the family and friends. Like, there's nothing else there for us anymore. And you do keep saying that. My parents are forever saying, you know, how the NHS is so bad. It really is struggling. My dad, like, just to get a phone consult was like 2 months just to get results from her bloods. You know,
What?
Yeah, it's really bad over there, really, really bad.
You get it like the next week.
I get it in a few days.
As quick as the results come in, like.
Yeah, there's just, like you said, when you say to me, oh, you know, if you think about your parents' house, and to me, it's a big house, it's a 4-bed, like it's a big house. But now we're here and we're comparing a big house to a 4-bed back there. You realise that you get so much more for your money here.
Even with the prices.
You know, we couldn't afford childcare. My friend was saying that she can only work part-time because she can only afford to send her child to daycare for a few times a week, and then her parents have him the rest of the week. We're lucky enough that we can afford full-time daycare now, just for Sierra because Aurora's at school.
But with the childcare subsidy, to have them both in, it only costs an extra $20 a week.
Yeah.
I don't know how the Australian government copes with it.
No. Generally, as a whole, like being in the sun and everything, it does make you feel better. You know I struggle with the heat sometimes, but it does make you feel better. And you know, having a pool, like you're really lucky to have what we have here. Yeah, it's just the family, really. You know, I can't just say, oh, come on, Ross, let's go out for dinner tonight. Let's go to the movies. Let's, you know, because I feel like I can't dish both girls to one family. I feel like I'd need to separate them, and you know, could this person have them, can this person have this person? And yeah, I think now that Aurora's getting older, it'd be easier for her to go to friends' houses, because she's now starting to ask, oh, can this person come round? Can that person, can I have a sleepover? You know, that's all kind of coming in now. So yeah, a few more years and Sierra will be a little bit easier.
I think we're getting through the trenches. Moving over here with young kids, it is tricky. You can do it. You know, having that support network, it's not like you can't do it. But if you have older kids, as your kids get older, and you build up that friends network, it can return to kind of normal life again, I guess.
Because we do have so many, we actually have so many friends
We've got more friends here than we did in the UK.
Yeah, so many more friends here than the UK. And I think having the girls has made that happen. A lot of our friends have girls or children of the same age or younger or older or what have you. And I know that if I really needed to have a night off or whatever, I could rely on so many friends. That I could. And they say, oh, just ask. But I'm not the kind of person to ask.
That's the same thing that you were saying though about like family.
Yeah. I kind of like that. Oh, okay, I can see you need a bit of help, you know. And I'm a bit like that with you. Yeah. Like
I can't read
I'm getting
minds,
stressed. I'm like it's too much. Like why can't you tell that I've had enough and I can't cope because you say that? Yeah.
Because I'm not a psychotherapist.
Yeah, but you've known me that long, and you should know. Oh yeah, Sam is looking a bit stressed. She needs a bit of a break or whatever.
Works both ways, mate. You've known me that long that you know you should ask me.
Yeah. And friends are the same. They're like, just ask. But I don't like to ask because I don't want to impose. I don't want to, you know, put my kids onto you because you've got your own kids or whatever. But actually sometimes it helps. Like I've got one friend in particular who has literally children, maybe 6 months difference between both the girls. You know, she's got one that's, she's going to be Pam, for example. You know,
they're both just a touch older.
6 months between my youngest and her oldest and my eldest. Yeah. And I know that it would be easier for her if Aurora was there because she would play with the oldest one. Yeah. And they would both together look after the youngest one. Yeah. You know, but I feel bad because you've got an extra kid to deal with, you know, so I'm not really one to ask for help. But we do all right. We do go out now and again, don't we? And but it is tiring. It is tiring. I'm not going to say it's not.
That's not. Sometimes I think about it. I don't even think that's the moving to Australia thing. I think that's just raising kids, mate.
Yeah.
Just raising kids.
Yeah. Your life is very different when you've got kids, isn't it? But we wouldn't have it any other way. We love them. They're great. You know, it's just sometimes it can get a bit much. Like tonight, for example, they're both crying in the bath.
Yeah.
And Ross is like, yeah, I've had enough.
Children.
Yeah.
Go to bed, kids. Mummy, Daddy need to make a video.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it has given you a better insight into what it's like moving to Australia, even going back to where you originally came from. And if you're interested in sending your bag like we did, we do have a code where you can save a bit of money. And I'll put a link to that down in the description. But if you want to see what it was like for Sam before she was going back to the UK, then watch this video.
And one thing, Send My Bag came within 7 days. It was really good.
See you next time.
Bye.